One of the real tangible differences with the Ngenuity system is this depth of focus. And it's interesting, when we first tried the Ngenuity system, it just seemed like macular peeling was easier. And we couldn't really quantify this until I heard Steve Charles talk about depth of focus. And so with our traditional microscopes, we have a much more narrow depth of focus than what we have with the Ngenuity system. As I've been working with this system more and more, what I've found that's really interesting is that depth of focus really helps you in some of those simple cases that actually, because of technical difficulties, may become more challenging. And this is a great example of such a case. It's a patient that had an epiretinal membrane, and she was a little bit over-sedated by her anesthesia. And so this patient had this kind of deep breathing as she was asleep, and I tend not to want to wake these patients up because sometimes they can startle and try to sit up. So when you're trying to peel these patients who are over-sedated, one of the problems that I find is not only is their head moving in a horizontal fashion, so basically with each breath they're moving kind of back and forth as you're trying to get in focus under your flat contact lens, but also with each breath they're moving up and down a bit. And the problem with the back and forth is that you've got to time your grab to be able to grab with each movement that they have and follow their movement as you peel. And that's not easy. It's like trying to hit a moving target. The second thing is it's even harder when you're losing focus, because as they're moving back and forth with each breath, they're also moving up and down. And when you're working with a traditional microscope, what you'll find is that they're moving up and down causes you to lose focus. So now you're trying to grab a moving target as it's moving back and forth, and it's also going in and out of focus. These seemingly easy cases can be very difficult and lead to iatrogenic damage of the retina in a case where you may have a patient who has excellent vision. So let's take a look at this case, and I'll show you kind of the difference that we have. So this is an unedited surgical video just of the membrane peeling, but I didn't want to edit the membrane peeling because I wanted to give you an idea of the entire aspect of this. And what you'll notice here is the tremendous back and forth movement that we have of this patient who, they're not snoring, they're just sleepy and asleep, in fact. And so we're timing our grabs to coincide with the patient's movement. Now the beauty of this system is as you'll notice, the eye never goes out of focus. The retina never goes out of focus. And this is absolutely critical when you're peeling membranes on a patient who has this much movement. So as you can see, I'm able to grab this membrane and peel it around and complete my ILM peeling on this patient without losing focus. It's hard enough to grab the ILM when the patient is moving back and forth. It's even harder when that movement coincides with going in and out of focus. And I think that these seemingly very simple cases can become very, very difficult just due to something as simple as this. Now pay close attention to the end of this case, as you'll see that contact lens is actually slid off center, and I still have great focus. So as you can see there, this patient's movement was now more in just the horizontal fashion and not so much up and down, so we weren't losing focus as readily. Now, the second part that you'll see, and you'll notice at the very end of that case, that contact lens actually had tilted on the eye. And one of the things that I find is difficult is to maintain that centralized upright contact lens. The globe, it tends to want to slide off to one side or another, and used to, we'd have to stop all the time and readjust that contact lens. I got to the point where I was pretty good at readjusting it and holding the contact in place with one finger as I held my light pipe. But with this system, you'll notice that you forget about when that lens slides, because even when the lens decenters, you still stay in focus. And once again, that's that powerful depth of focus that you have with that Ngenuity system. So it's making a difference in more ways than we initially appreciated. And certainly for cases like this that technically may be a lot more difficult, it certainly makes them a little bit easier, a little bit safer, and a little bit more effective. Thanks for watching.